All right, here we go. Thanks, everyone, or welcome everyone to the Bay Area Content Marketing Meetup. Myself, Dennis Shao, and Rich Schwerin are the co-organizers of this group. Today, we're talking LinkedIn with Donovan Rittenbach. Donovan has posted to LinkedIn for 1,000 consecutive days, and he's going to talk about what he learned doing that. Donovan's going to expose why the LinkedIn algorithm kills results, why viral posts are vanity metrics, and how raw vulnerability is a strength in this AI world. You'll get his proven playbook for creating content that actually works, including the specific media types that drove the most engagement and the contrarian moves that cut through the noise. So I'm really looking forward to this. Donovan, thanks for joining, and take it away.
Thanks, Dennis. Wow, that sounds like a great talk. I hope I deliver. All right, so
Oh, nice cake.
when I first started my journey, back in 2022, there was no, sorry, I gotta get my window. There was no AI. And by the time I was done, my world had just been completely, utterly transformed. And AI went from not being able to put letters on a cake to actually being able to spell it out pretty much like crazy. How much has changed in such a short time. All right, I'm going to try not to read a bunch of slides to you, but there will be a bunch of stuff on the slides. I'm going to try to talk more about what's going on. And what set me up for being able to do this, like why I was able to post for 1,000 consecutive days. I've been doing Zen meditation for about 36 years, 34 of those. I haven't missed a single day. And I think that kind of habit building, it has really helped. It helped me with my sobriety. It helped me by doing if you guys have ever heard of the Pomodoro technique, this is time boxed monotasking, and that has been essential to my success as well. I'm going to be talking to you about that and how you can use that effectively. Can I ask, out of the room, what are you most interested in learning today? Do you want to know about the system? Do you want to know about like what? Hey, Kim, she's got 20 years. Nice. Chop wood, carry water. That was one of my favorite posts. Yeah. Okay, top 3 lessons from successful posting on LinkedIn. Paul's like, just get me to the good stuff. Anybody else?
I guess I'm really looking for why would I want to do it?
Yeah, okay, cool. That's a great question because it doesn't necessarily translate to money, but content structure, okay. All right, great. Yeah, how to get more engagement. So let's kind of dive into this. I am the author of Prompt Virtuoso: Secret Techniques to Amplify Your Intelligence and Not Get Hacked by AI. We'll talk more about that at the end of the sesh. Yeah, Al, that looks like it. All right. I'm going to try not to focus on chat. I'm going to let Rich take care of that because we got a lot of ground to cover. I have written a lot of words, and the reason why is because I do this kind of like version of the Pomodoro technique. I believe in very hyper-focused work. I also believe that a man's got to have a code. I don't know if anybody here saw The Wire, but that's Omar from The Wire, kind of a classic character. But you also got to have a quest. And my journey to doing 1,000 days straight was not like, hey, I want to do 1,000 days straight. It was, I'd like to post for another day. I started wandering after I got laid off in 2022. I realized the job market has shifted radically. I didn't know what was going to happen. Maybe I'd get, interviews, maybe not. Either way, I wanted to have something that would be a daily win that would keep my content creation skills going. And by the end of the journey, I had created a ton of content. Let's quick go over some of these. So what I was doing, I believe in speed of production. And I was always I try to crank out a very simple graphic at the very least to kind of stop the scroll and get people to pay attention. But I also did a ton of AI presentations, how to use AI for graphics and copywriting. The carousels, these are basically PDFs that you upload, and they become what's called a carousel in feed on LinkedIn. Those started out when I was in my second year, and they've, still stayed decent as far as a content format type in terms of getting engagement. Video, though, video continues to win. Short video, and not with the subtitles that I just have one word at a time, but tons of content. And why did I do it? Because I wasn't making a ton of money off of it. That's a great, great question. One of the things that first started out is when I was first starting out, I wanted to write fast, tight, and conversational. I saw these guys doing this like, really short staccato, super readable, lots of white space. I wanted to learn to write like that because I was still writing big, bulky paragraphs. And this is kind of a classic way of writing that you see copywriters do. Now, copywriting is salesmanship in print. It's trying to persuade people to do something, to take an action or buy something. And that's my strength. Part of it is because of I did 1,000 reps, 1,000 days of doing this in a time box. And it's a great way to write. It's very engaging too. And it's fast to crank out. Another goal was to have a win every day, no matter what was happening in the crazy job market, no matter what was going on in the world. If I had a post, I had at least one win for the day, right? I also wanted to future-proof my career, and I didn't realize at the time how big of a deal that was going to be when AI came through and just changed it all. Like, oh my God, it's incredible how much our world's changed in the past 3 years, technologically speaking, and especially as content creators. I also wanted to create a wealth that couldn't be stolen. If an algorithm changed, if somebody went away, whatever, I would still have something that couldn't be taken away. And I wanted to learn how to turn lead into gold. So lead is something that's worthless, and gold is something of extreme value. And
Visit
it's a
their
great
blogs.
metaphor. What was that? Okay, I'm going to skip that, whatever she said. So one of my first posts was Cross Your Inner Rubicon. For those of you who don't know what your Rubicon is, I'm going to explain that in a second. This became my like rallying cry. And this, when I reposted this, after Midjourney became capable of creating this content, it blows my mind that this was possible. But let me explain what the Rubicon is because it's pretty important. This is what my post was. The Rubicon River was an important symbol to ancient Romans. If a Roman general crossed it, it meant he intended to capture Rome and become emperor. There was no takesy-backsies. Once crossed the bridge, you crossed the bridge, you couldn't go back and say, oops, sorry about that. So when Julius Caesar crossed it, his intention was clear. He was going to upend the existing power structure. When you cross your inner Rubicon, you are declaring your personal commitment to a path of action and personal change, and you can't turn back no matter what. It's like burning a bridge. Rome was the capital, so I declared war on all the things that got in my way, all the self-doubts that controlled me and kept me from taking my shot. And if anything got in my way, I'd crush it. Say it out loud. I have crossed my inner Rubicon. I will not turn back. I am committed. Now go crush all your self-doubt, perfectionism, and all the things that keep you from achieving an impossible goal. And fortunately, I did it. And the reason why is because I set up a system. You know, the secret to being rock solid, consistent is keep it simple. Above all else, be consistent. Make it a high stakes mission, something that matters to you. It's very important that it means something to you. I also do it first thing in the morning. So like my Zen meditation, every day, first thing in the morning, I'm going to do the Zen, because if I don't, I know it's going to get hard to do later on in the day. I get it done, I get it out of the way. And this is like a non-negotiable commitment. So, you know, that's how I stopped drinking for almost 25 years, because you set the rule and there's no negotiation. Now, for those of you who are writers, I love this quote. This was one of the things I got to do a lot because I was posting for myself is I could just do these kind of little creative projects. The graphic could be whatever I want. So I started using the emojis, Apple emojis, and throwing them onto this super simple black and white, right? Writing is self-hypnosis. You need to have a routine. So to that end, who here has heard of the Pomodoro technique? Got one person that I can see. I don't know who else is in the audience. All right, the Pomodoro technique. It was invented in the 1980s. It's basically it's time-boxed monotasking. You take a timer. It's called the Pomodoro technique because there was a tomato timer. Mine's the ladybug method because I'm using a ladybug and I invented it. So, yay. I have a little kind of a little altar filled with objects of meaning, deep personal meaning, to focus my intention, to focus my mission, to focus on wisdom. And I twist that timer in the middle to 25 minutes, and I'll tell you what happens. First, I'm going to encourage you to always pay yourself first. So work on your own projects for, an hour, because writing time is thinking time. And if you're a writer, you get paid to think. You don't get paid to write, you get paid to think. So don't start with distractions, right? No, nothing that would derail you. I don't check my email first thing in the morning. I don't do any of this other stuff because my first Pomodoro or my first session is going to be to slam out a post, or was to slam out a post. So eliminate all distractions. By the way, this is a real dude. I think this is just utterly fascinating from one of the most incredible minds in science fiction. But anyways, you don't have to be that extreme, but I love that somebody would. I can't even imagine what that would be like. Okay. So first off, clear the deck. I get my coffee, I get tea, water, whatever. I've taken my bio break, I got my shower or whatever. snacks, anything that's gonna make me think of something else rather than what's in front of me. It's important to not get interrupted, so I post a do not interrupt sign if I feel that I need to. I realize this is tough. I'm lucky I don't got kids or pets or whatever, but one of the things that I do is I always have music. And this piece of music is this album. It's Viking music with a drummy, hypnotic kind of beat. I've played pretty much every morning that I've written for 8 years now. So what my goal is as soon as I hit that play button, I've programmed my brain to go to make inspiration strike. So here's one of my favorite quotes. I write only when inspiration strikes. Fortunately, it starts every morning at 8 a.m. when I sit down in front of my computer and start to write. You set up all these environmental cues that immediately tell your brain, okay, la 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 la, we're just doing this one thing. And listening to this album, you know, I feel like I'm a Viking on a journey across the ocean, and we just keep slugging away, and it's a great album. Now, another important thing to keep in mind is Parkinson's law. A task will expand to fit the time allotted for completion. So if you want to get something done, give yourself a deadline and give yourself a tight deadline, not too tight, but tight enough to give you the right pressure so that you can, focus. Not so much that you're overwhelmed, but before you twist the timer, you're going to have a bunch of these inner fears, right? You're going to have fear of judgment. Nobody cares about what I'm posting. Don't even worry about it. Like in the beginning, I was like, okay, am I going to get engagement? Is anybody going to care? No, not really. You're lucky with the way the algorithm works. You're lucky if you can get more than 100 impressions. Like yeah, they changed the algorithm during the course of working with LinkedIn, and that first golden hour is critical for getting engagement. Now, and deciding whether or not they will accelerate and keep sharing your post with other people. Now, imposter syndrome, if you're really good at something, you know how much there is to learn, how much more there is to learn. So you're always going to think, I'm not that good. But guess what? You are. Just go with it and start reprogramming your brain. Finally, perfectionism is, oh, it's not perfect. I could choose a little bit of a different word. Kill it. You're going to have 25 minutes to write, edit, and post. And that's what I did every day. So, as I said, in a time box, you don't need more time, you need a deadline. I do 25 minutes. That's the basic 25 minutes. That is kind of a Pomodoro session. Some people like Eugene Schwartz did 33 minutes and 33 seconds for some reason. Whatever you're going to do, the point is you are completely monotasking. I don't believe in multitasking. It is scientifically disproven unless you're one of 2% of the population that is a super tasker. So focus. That comes back to my Zen meditation thing too, right? Concentration is going to maintain flow. Super important when you're a writer. Writers, right? Gotta focus. And when you get interrupted in your train of thought, you lose it. Same for programmers. So eliminate all distraction and do one thing to completion. Don't bounce around between stuff, doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that. If you're feeling depressed, doesn't matter. Twist the timer. Feeling lost, you're happy. Not sure if you want to do this again. World's ending, doesn't matter. Just twist the timer, start free writing. So I've done that because I do journaling, but it's a great way to just kind of warm things up, right? And yes, by the way, I'm going to say Manovager is got some of my favorite work music. It's just so, or excuse me, not Danheim. Sorry, Paul posted the link into Spotify. Danheim, yeah, favorite artist for work music. Okay. By setting up a system, you don't have to make any decisions. Just twist the timer and start working. And what I do is in my head, I have a little spell. And what is that? People go, spells aren't real. Well, yeah, they are. That's why they call it spelling. When you write something, it's spelling. Words, language has power. And to set a context, because this is all about setting a context, I say, as I set my intentions and say, as I wind, so I bind. Now distractions leave my mind. Boom, I'm in the zone. I write for my 25 minutes. When I'm done, I track it on my spreadsheet so that I can see what my work was, how I spent my day. Did I spend it using AI and Claude? Was I doing PR promotion? Was I working for, on my Bacon presentation? So at the end of every session, I'll take a 5-minute break. I don't check emails or anything. I do 4 sessions. That's one set. Take a 20-minute break, and then I do it again. So I really love this totally hyper-focused way of working. Any questions? Okay, we're about to dive into the good stuff that Paul's been waiting for. Here's my guiding philosophy. I have not failed. I just found 10,000 ways that don't work. So this is Thomas Edison on creating the light bulb. There is no such thing as failure when you're doing this kind of testing. I wanted to test and experiment with as many possible media types as I could. And, it's everything from podcasts to screenshots to AI images and PDFs/carousels, text only, whatever, see what worked. I did 57 weeks of a podcast just to crank out the video and a little something, post it on YouTube, get that whole workflow going, made tons of presentations for a meetup that I was doing on how to use AI. Again, this was one of my favorites. This is kind of means the most to me because it was my mission. It's my journey, right? All right. Let's see, where are we at now? So, it's not about making mistakes. It's about learning new things, right? And as a copywriter, I got one thing that is my goal, that is to get the reader to take action. One of the ways you do that is through your hooks, right? Hooks are what stop the scroll. And if you do visceral emotions, that gets you action. And action is what you need because the algorithm doesn't care if anybody likes your post. They only care if people comment on your post. When I first started out, they really cared if you got likes and stuff. Then about a year into it, they stopped tracking that, totally mixed up the algorithm, and now it's just, are people commenting? So if you want comments, you got to have emotions, or something of great interest to your audience, right? So in copywriting, one of the things that's really important is headlines. And headlines are where 80% of your marketing dollar is spent. and your time and energy, because if people don't stop to read your headline, they're not going to stop to read your post or your ad or your whatever. So I started, getting into this. Was a pretty good, pretty successful little post for my audience's engagement. From meh to magnificent, master the art of headline writing with ChatGPT. So this was a post, with a subhead that how to write headlines that would make David Ogilvy's jaw drop if he wasn't dead. So David Ogilvy, famous madman advertiser, copywriter. I was showing you how to use ChatGPT to quote unquote resurrect him. By the way, as I was trudging along through this whole thing, this is how I felt. It was a war. It just keeps slugging away, right? I can't stress, like, you just have to keep your chin up. Anyways, okay. Now, one of the most popular types of posts is sharing the ye old posts learned. This got uh, a lot of people engaging in it because everybody wants nobody. It's easy to talk about your success, but when you share your failures, that's much more interesting, right? Like nobody cares about, hey, today I was out gathering berries and I got some berries. They care about, I was out gathering berries today and this bear came into the thicket and you're not going to believe how I escaped him, right? It's those mistakes and the dangers and the things that hurt. And that was really hard for me to talk about in the beginning of my posting. And I started practicing it and I got better. And I definitely found people respond to it because we're all human, right? That's what separates us from AI. All right. Okay. So the another popular post type, right? Theme, some simple, agreeable reminder. Prune your time tree so your new life can flourish, with a little couple of paragraphs about, how it helps you focus. That got, decent engagement whenever I would repost it. I go with wisdom, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. This is one of Steve Jobs's famous quotes. I like sharing wisdom and knowledge. And yeah, so I do it a lot. One of the things, like this post here, everybody kept saying consistency is king. And when I would write about, okay, consistency is king, and then I started going, yeah, but then strategy is queen. And then I took this and I posted it into a specific group for copywriters and content creators, and it got 20 times more engagement. So when you're thinking about where you're going to post, one of the big missed opportunities is posting to groups, specific interest groups, especially if they're active on LinkedIn. Inspirational. This always, everybody can identify with it. You got to go through the night to get to the light. And it was a reminder to me, but it was also, something that the audience could identify with. I did a lot of sales brain psychology because I love that stuff. How the reptilian brain works, what makes your content more memorable, and more likely to resonate with customers. It's personal. There's good contrast between like a this and a that. Let's see, tangible, concrete language, visual. So all of these trying to write, as I went through this, I would try to write emotional language in a visual term, something that would it's called a picture word, paint pictures in people's heads and have a bold contrast of some kind, right? Like not just like AI is gonna take my job, but I hate AI, it's killing everybody's jobs, right? Something that's more exaggerated that I could support as well. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you about it. I just did a post on that I'll show you, and it just got 66,000 impressions, so it went viral last week. Lizard brain sales. Again, so in sales, copywriting is salesmanship in print, right? All your decision making, the most important decision making occurs in the reptilian brain. So I'd write about how to get better results from, speaking directly to that part of the brain. Throw in humor, because as Jeffrey Gitomer says, if you can make them laugh, you can make them buy. Laughter establishes rapport. And I would just write some funny posts that also had some wisdom, right? Like, I thought that I was a genius, and it turns out that I was just tenacious as hell. And why that's okay too, right? Um, a popular post type was how AI messes things up. If you look here, so I'd always say we're entering the AI rapids. And this would be like, spot the things that AI is doing wrong. Like there's no way to steer the boat, and what the heck are those? And so it's got some humor, it's got the AI angle. Yes, this is an actual picture of me wandering in the desert. I'm a photographer. I love taking photos. But anyways, I felt like I was just wandering through the desert of LinkedIn, kind of. Man versus machine, very popular kind of motif for the modern era, right? This is John Henry. If you don't know his story, it's a good one. Definitely AI anxiety and calling AI out on, right? So this experiment was make a blimp that's blank, and then I could put my own copy on it. But when I made this with Mid-Journey and said it's already here, yeah, people, you can feel it. You can feel like that monstrosity is among us. People love a reason to celebrate, right? Whenever I'd post about my sobriety, lots of people, congratulations, whatever. That's an easy win, easy thing that anybody can engage in. You don't have to worry about saying something, making a comment, and feeling like an idiot, right? Or saying something dumb or whatever. I'd also post for my, if when I broke certain numbers of followers, how-to guides. I'm gonna say not so much. People, as much as I'd love people to appreciate this, I find LinkedIn is more of a short form, kind of short, concise posts get more people reading. And this was killer information, right? How do you take, especially at the time, take any transcript and turning it into crazy, meaningful, actionable insights? Got a lot of engagements. I'd like make up new words, right? Like curse, blessing. This is a curse, but it's also a blessing, right? Like, and explain it. And people love that. If you're a copywriter, like copywriters and fellow writers would always respond to this one. This was how a famous copywriter saved the Grand Canyon from being turned into a dam. When you look at the image, it's a crazy image, right? Like the Grand Canyon is pretty grand. Again, I would post amazing content about, like, this was a young woman. Her name's Jenny Hoyos. She gets phenomenal views on YouTube, and she was revealing her winning strategies. Guess what? Nobody cared. I think part of it is this right here, right? It's not engaging enough. The headline again. So top YouTuber tells you how to go viral. Whatever. Speaking of going viral, there's a bunch of stuff going on with going viral. Not only the psychology of your audience and your market, right? The algorithm, as I call it, it's not, yeah, which, by the way, as you've noticed, you'll follow somebody and you want to see their content and you never see it because the algorithm separates you, or you'll get engagement for 2 or 3 days or a week or a couple of weeks from certain people, and then they suddenly vanish. That's all because of the way that the algorithm thinks it knows what you should be looking at. It's really important to study the algorithm because there's a lot of weird, non-intuitive stuff going on there. That like the whole golden hour, get maximum engagement 1 hour after posting. Like if somebody responds to you, you should respond back to them. And then I gotta sit and babysit my post. Are you kidding? But definitely posting to a dedicated interest group was huge. When I say timeliness of news, yes, but then time of day, you're gonna dial that in because that's huge. I get pretty good engagement if I do Sunday afternoon, Monday morning, or Wednesday morning, maybe Thursday, but otherwise, meh. So don't construe the quality of your post not getting engagement with people that are right. Like, let me show you. I'll show you in a second. So here's one of my big viral cross posts. This guy, Eddie Schleiner, he's a famous copywriter. He gave an assignment to copyright the copy work that's right out by hand, these sales pages. And I wrote out 115 pages. Yeah, I call it the algorithm because HAL, as in 2001 Space Odyssey, the evil computer that takes over the ship. Anyways, so he had like 60,000 followers, and when he gave, it's a little thing where he gave this assignment, and I'm like, okay, I want to be like a top copywriter, so I'm going to do what the top copywriters do. I'm going to copy word by word what's has been the best performing sales letters of all time. And this ended up actually introducing to me to one of the world's best copywriters, Kim Krause-Schwalm, who became my mentor. And that post right there didn't just, well, first of all, it ended up getting 60,000 views between this whole series where I'd like do a quick video. Thanks, Eddie, for this. And then I'd, do the little @ sign and make sure that he saw it. He was totally supportive. It brought in all sorts of people, most of which honestly didn't convert to anything, but it's a lot of traffic. This, so 2 years ago, before anybody really knew how Gen AI worked, I posted this article about this event that I had went to that was put on by UC Berkeley, and I posted it into the AI group, and it was specifically on why AI will always hallucinate forever. As far as we know, anyways, it's just built the way I explained technically how it's built into the system, and yeah, within just, when something is going to go viral, it hits like really fast, and ended up getting 50,000 views on that and 100 comments. This is the one that just happened to me. Actually, it was 2 weeks ago. And this is kind of a revealing little test. I realized we got 15 minutes. We have, I posted two kind of similar posts, right? They were both within, a couple hours of each other on a Wednesday. This post got like 4 people or 5 people. Same post, but with a lot more snark. Let me read it out loud for you. Famous last words. AI isn't coming for my job, but AI actress Tilly Norwood has crossed a line. This is straight out of Black Mirrors. Greedy studios are always looking for ways to cut costs. First, they went after screenplay writers. Now they get to get rid of actors and actresses. Everybody is pretending that AI isn't going to take their job despite a significant amount of evidence to suggest otherwise. Programmers, writers, musicians, artists, all have been ripped off by AI that was trained on their data. There's a lot more and the list is growing. This is not acceptable. Boycott AI actors and actresses like Tilly Norwood. Welcome to your sci-fi life. Boom, exploded. So many people commenting. Yeah, got 60,000 impressions in a few days. And, let's be honest. AI is a love-hate relationship. I'm just going to say it. It's great for some things and not for others. But I didn't use AI to write that. I just knocked it out because by now I had done so much hard work that, yeah. Here's one of the reasons why going viral. Here's some reasons why going viral is BS. One, who are you reaching? Are you reaching freeloaders? Are you reaching people who are going to do what you want them to do, that are going to buy what you want them to buy? Are you like, where does it go from here? Into a funnel where they get lost or not followed up on? In direct marketing, you track this stuff really closely. There's no way to track who your followers are and the quality of their followers, your followers, and the intent to buy. It's fun when it happens, but I got like 20 followers out of it. That's cool. Maybe I can convert them to emails. I don't know. All right. So one of the things I promised. Any questions, by the way? No? We got.
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions, Donovan.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt. So Pedro Medina with Haystack Data Solutions, and a lot of the stuff that you're saying really resonates with me. I've got a little personal challenge that I set up for myself that I call the LinkedIn 100. The goal is to post on LinkedIn every day for 100 straight days, not quite 1,000, but start small, right? But I guess my question for you is, one is like, how do you prep your content? Do you do it all at once, like you set like a Friday afternoon and then build all of your posts for the coming week? Or do you literally go out every morning and then create the post for that day? And then what are the pros and cons to that? And then my other question is, really, what is your goal for posting? What are you trying to get out of it? Are you trying to land clients? So what's the goal there? And do you still think that LinkedIn is a viable social network for accomplishing that?
I'm going to say my goal was to get clients. I didn't get very many clients. I'm going to be honest. And I have a lot of explanation of why I think that is. You got to have a really clear offer of something that people need and that they can't get anyplace else. There has to be a reason to buy. There has to be urgency and scarcity to make them go, oh, I want to buy now, rather than, oh yeah, I like this guy and maybe I'll find him again later. There's a lot of complexity when you're dealing with the digital customer journey. Let me put it that way, okay? In terms of posting, I'm going to say, first of all, you are bolder than me. I just tried to post one more week. And in the course of I'm like, okay, I'm going to go try to do this for 1 month. and I made it to a month. And I'm like, okay, cool. Can I do 2 months? I just really I think it's really important to keep your goals as small as possible so that you will always win. Because when you always win, then you don't get discouraged.
Right.
And yeah, don't be afraid to set them low. And the next thing you know, 1,000 days. I never planned on 1,000 days. I was just gonna do another week or a month, or maybe I can make it to 6 months. Maybe I could, a year would be amazing. Oh wow, 2 years would be incredible. I set myself up to not have all these crazy expectations that would defeat me. Now you can definitely post your stuff ahead of time, prep it ahead of time on one day like that. If you got, I don't know what your work schedule is like, crank, occasionally I would do that. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to write 4 posts for the following week because I'm going to be out of town or whatever. But I also kind of just liked the sit down, do it on the spot. What's top of mind? What am I thinking about? The what I got out of it, I'm going to get to that in just 1 second. Let me quick share this killer prompt with you that will turn anything, including the most banal idea, into a thought leadership piece. It's simply think divergently about this. So, this is one of the things I said I was going to show you in my blurbage on the Bacon website. Think divergently. This is a huge untapped capability of AI to think in different ways. Think laterally, convergently, divergently, strategically, critically, and a bunch of others. Just try it down the road, later on today. Think divergently about dogs are a man's best friend. See what you come up with. You're going to take a banal, seemingly boring topic, and suddenly it's going to get a really interesting angle on it. Okay, reminder, you don't get better by being perfect. You get better by putting in massive ton of reps. My biggest mistake, not studying the algorithm. LinkedIn is not a content creation platform. It is not friendly for content creators. It's a networking platform. Got a lot of thoughts on that. We're running low on time. I would also have done distribution first, content second. Don't think about what you're going to write. Think about how you're going to distribute it, because with AI now, you can crank out so much content so quickly. Doesn't matter. How are you going to distribute it? Another thing, I should have just been recycling winners a lot more. And I'm focusing now on a video first content production. In conclusion, I posted to LinkedIn for 1,000 days. They didn't even give me a lousy t-shirt. Bastards. They didn't even care. And here's your ROI answer. What's the ROI in a good mom? Like, you can't, there's some things, okay. So these are some of the things that I got out of this that can't be taken away from me, that are more permanent than money. I did something impossible, right? I became an undeniable authority. I have a crazy media library. I found my voice, made a lot of new friends. Man, I networked with made some great networking connections. I can write so much better. My expertise in marketing went up. It was already pretty good being in the biz for 27 years. It went way up. I learned AI intimately. I had a ton of fun, and I turned my lead into gold. Now we are in the process of refining how to convert those leads into actual sales. And who was the gentleman that was asking that question?
Pedro.
Oh, was that Pedro? Yeah.
Pedro, I'm sorry I didn't get to answer more in depth. But I have, if you want to talk about it, I'm gonna, yeah, hit me up on LinkedIn. Really
Appreciate
quick, this is one of my favorite quotes, and a lot of people identified with this, right? Don't judge me by my successes, judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up again. Really quick, if you go here to bit.ly, here, let me just put it in the,
Oh, I've got you. I've got you. I'm typing it in.
okay.
You present. I'll type.
That'll take you to my page where you can find my book, which is, by the way, you're gonna get stuff there nobody's talking about in AI. Everybody's thinking about this in the wrong way, and I kind of blow it out of the water. And how it turn it into a thinking amplifier. Let's just leave it at that. You can sign up for my email. You could I'm doing a special Bacon discount, 79% off the ebook. And you can check out my AI course. So whatever. Okay.
Very good. Very good. Well, thank you so much, Donovan. Dennis is having some audio issues, so I'll do a couple questions here with the 3 minutes remaining. I'm rolling back through the chat. A lot of great engagement here. I want to go back to a question that that Margie had, and I also added to your thoughts on posts versus articles, and I'll add versus newsletters. It seems, LinkedIn wants to gamify our engagement, our attention in any way they can. Did you see any performance one way or the other on posts versus articles versus newsletters?
Posts, right? Everybody's got time to read a short post.
Okay.
Articles, they're great for long form people who want to geek out on the same thing as you.
Yeah.
Can I just say I gave LinkedIn over $54,000 of my time.
Wow.
Like, they are gamifying it. Whatever you're posting. By the way, so I wrote killer articles. You can't find them. Where are people always going to be able to find your content? On your website, right? The thing that I would do, focus, if you're going to post it to LinkedIn, great, cool. Also post it to your website. Post it on Medium. Put it places where you can find it and you can point people to it easily. Because if I'm the creator and I can't even find my own article because they're crappy UI and I hate their UI.
Right.
To have a fallback, and don't forget, repost it. Just keep, repost it every month or whatever. Like, don't be afraid to do it, because the way the algorithm works, you'll be lucky if a few people see it.
Got it. Okay.
That's my
Thanks.
opinion.
Couple other, we're almost at time, 2 minutes. Couple other questions. Dennis chimes in. Thoughts on link in comments tactic? We've seen this a lot where there's the post and then link in comments, and the first comment is the link. Is that a thing? Is that still working? Is that effective in your experience?
Yeah, you gotta stick your links that are off of platform into the comments section, which, by the way, is a drag if you're trying to schedule your content,
Right.
because you can't put that link in there. So the thing is, they want to keep everybody on platform, right? So if you're taking them off, stick it in the comments. Otherwise, it gets dinged. Yes.
Very good. And we're at time. I know we didn't cover everything. I will offer, if you're on this chat and you want to connect on LinkedIn, I shared my profile, Donovan as well. Look him up. His LinkedIn profile is on here as well. I want to thank again our speaker, Donovan, for presenting today, to Dennis for our founder, our fearless founder. And I'll make a quick plug for our next meetup is Tuesday, October 28th. And it's with the inimitable, the one and only founder of Content Marketing Institute, Joe Polizzi. He'll be here to talk about Burn the Playbook, 6 rules top content creators to win big. Dennis and I are giving away a couple issues of the book for attendees, so we hope to see you there. And with that, I'll thank you all.
Can I
and we'll
ask
see you
real
next
quick?
time. Yeah.
Did you enjoy yourself?
Yes,
Did you enjoy the presentation?
I did, and I'll make a quick comment. What I was seeing was not just advice for posting to LinkedIn, but kind of life advice. So I chatted, it's reminded me a little of James Clear, Atomic Habits. And
Yes.
the book is old, but I get his newsletter each week, 321, and some of your focus, that time box and that Pomodoro. So applicable not only to LinkedIn, but I'm like, oh, the words to live by. So I did, and I think I gather a similar sentiment from others on the call today. So
I hope so.
all right. Wonderful. Well, thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time. Appreciate it.
Ciao.
Bye.